Right then folks, where am I today? I'm up in London and you can tell autumn is here. The rain has come. Great. Where have I come today? Gordon Ramsay Bread Street Kitchen. Now, you'll remember when I came up to London in the summer, I went to Harrods and reviewed Gordon Ramsay's burger place in there. And it has to be said, I wasn't very happy with it at all. But a lot of people in the comments have been saying, what do I know about food? I should be giving him another chance. He's a great chef. Today, we're going to give him an opportunity to show that. The restaurant here, covered in scaffolding. Is he going to rebuild his reputation with Greeno? Is he going to get Greeno's green light? Let's go inside and find out, shall we? Right then folks, we are inside, we are seated, and I have to say, it's an interesting looking restaurant. Kind of industrial, fits with the scaffolding theme they've got outside. I don't know if that's part of the decor or not. But the one thing that's worrying me a little bit, it's really quiet, like really quiet. I think there are 2 tables in there and we're one of them. So it's not great. Slightly incongruous thing that I've spotted too. Maybe it's because Strictly Come Dancing's just come back on the telly. Big glitter ball in the middle. Makes no sense whatsoever to me. Doesn't fit with anything else in the vibe of the restaurant whatsoever. There we are. Anyway, let's move on to the menu and have a little chat about that. So there's a whole range of cocktails on the left-hand side here. Snacks and starters, salads, sides, and a range of main courses. Some of them seem a little bit punchy to me. Slow-cooked ribs for £36. Sounds pricey, doesn't it? They have got a burger here. And it's a lot cheaper than the one I had in Harrods too. £21 and it comes with fries. Come on, Gordon. Start doing that in Harrods as well. Anyway, we're ignoring all the stuff on this main menu because I'm here for one reason and one reason alone. Gordon Ramsay's famous Beef Wellington. Now this is his signature dish. If you've ever seen any of the shows he does cooking on the TV, the Hell's Kitchen, whatever, you'll know this is the one thing he is very, very proud of, the Beef Wellington. Now this has got to be good. You come in, you order it, they're cooking it to order, it takes 45 minutes to cook. It's a sharing dish, it's for 2 people. It's £120. £120! If this isn't good, well, I don't know what kind of score this is going to get. I am hoping that as his signature dish, this is going to be spot on and this is going to get Gordon back in my good books. Let's see. One other thing to mention about the restaurant here, it's kind of an open kitchen situation. So you can see into the kitchen, but they've put a pane of glass, like a window there. So you can't actually hear if there's any microwaves pinging. Gordon, you wouldn't do that now, would you? I hope not. Right then folks, so this board here is what £120 gets you at Gordon Ramsay's Bread Street Kitchen. This is the Beef Wellington. So it's been cooked to order. It's taken just over 45 minutes to be done. And yeah, well that's it. I've got some mashed potato here, which looks quite nicely made. But I have to say, it doesn't look like a lot of mash for 2 people. Obviously this is a sharing platter. And we have the gravy here, which is basically a thimbleful each. Look at this tiny little jug we got here. So hopefully there'll be more gravy available if we want it. The broccoli does look very nice though. As a side, you've got a nice sauce underneath it here. This is £7, so tender stem broccoli, which doesn't sound bad, does it, compared to £120 for this Beef Wellington. So there's nothing to serve it with, so I guess you just pick a piece up and put it on the plate. So as you can see, the whole Wellington is on here. So we've got the 2 end pieces here and then 4 nice slices in the middle. So the cookery here, you can see it's nice and pink in the middle, as it should be. And that goes right throughout. Now the one thing I'm sure people will be mentioning, there are mushrooms in a Beef Wellington. And I don't like mushrooms. So this could be interesting. Is it going to be a £120 meal that I can't even eat? Let's see. Right, so we're going to be brave with the mushroom element and get tucked in. So we're going to try and get a bit of everything right from the outset. Some of this fillet steak, some of the mushroom duxelle, and a little bit of the pastry. Now hopefully this fillet steak is going to be nice and juicy. It looks very nicely cooked. Should be kind of melt in the mouth. The mushroom duxelle looks very nicely kind of chopped up, very, very fine, so there won't be any texture issues for me with that. And it does look to have a nice colour on the pastry. So let's give it a try. So the beef does have a nice texture. There's not an awful lot of seasoning to it though, which was interesting to me because that was one of my complaints at the Gordon Ramsay burger place. Needed a good dash of salt on the fries and everything up there, and this could do with some salt and some pepper really. None on the table here of course, so can't add any more unless I ask for some. The pastry's got quite a nice crisp. The mushroom flavour is not too mushroomy, so I'm okay with that. But I just wish they'd elevated it a little bit more. Again, a whack of seasoning. I don't see any Parma ham or anything wrapped around the beef, which you would normally find in a Beef Wellington. A bit of Parma ham, maybe a bit of spinach or something in there. None of that here, it's just the beef mushroom pastry. Bit of a mixed bag really. Let's try a little bit of this gravy on there. See if that livens things up a little bit. There we go. So it's got a nice colour to it. Interesting aroma. And we'll try with a little bit of this beef here. Get some of that gravy on there like that. There we go. So is this going to add the seasoning that I'm looking for? Not really. It's okay. But again, it's just lacking a little depth in flavour. Ah dear, Gordon, what are you doing to me, mate? What are you doing to me? I thought paying £65 for reasonably bland and not very well prepared food at Harrods was an issue. This is 120 quid. And it's okay, but it's nothing to write home about. One thing I've just noticed, we looked at the two little end bits, and take a closer look at this. So you can see here, I mean that doesn't look very appetising to eat at all, does it? It's a very bit of overcooked beef, a load of mushrooms shoved into a bit of a pastry case. So, you know, that looks almost inedible, doesn't it? Anyway, let's try some of the other elements here. We've got this mashed potato, which I have to say, does look quite nicely made. It's quite thick, almost sort of like wallpaper paste consistency. And we'll get some of this broccoli as well, which has come with a nice little sauce. I think it's described as a romesco sauce, which will be tomatoey and whatever, I guess. Little bits of nuts and stuff in there. So we'll try that first. I do quite like tender stem broccoli. It's much nicer than regular broccoli. Well, that's cold. Like stone cold. Not warm at all. The sauce, again, just a bit bland. You can pick up little bits of tomato, little bits of olive in there maybe, but there's no seasoning to it. And the plate that it's been served on is cold. So of course it goes cold very, very quickly. It looks nice. And the broccoli, were it warm, would be cooked quite nicely. Not overcooked, still a little al dente, but it is stone cold. Let's move on to this mash. Like I say, it's clearly a very smooth mash. There's no lumps in there at all. Let's see how that is. It's warm. That's a bonus. And you know what? That is quite nice mash. That is seasoned, which is a little bit odd really, isn't it? Where nothing else really seems to be. But it is reasonably salty, a little bit of pepper to it. We'll get some of these juices and sauce and whatever to mix into there. Again, it's just a bit bland. Everything is kind of lacking. For this kind of money, wow, that's just not good enough, is it? Right then, folks, well, I've eaten a bit more of this, and do you know what? It's pretty underwhelming. The whole thing just tastes a little bit kind of flat. Yeah, not brilliant, not brilliant. But what we'll do, we'll wrap it up, I'll get the bill paid, and we'll go and talk about it a little bit more outside. Right then, folks, so what do we make of Gordon Ramsay's Bread Street kitchen? I've got to say, I'm sensing a theme developing here with my Gordon Ramsay experiences. It wasn't great, was it? Let's start with the restaurant though. I mean, the restaurant itself is designed quite nicely. It's that kind of industrial chic that seems to be all the rage these days. And I quite like that. I like the design of the restaurant. We were able to sit on a higher level, away from the couple of other tables that were actually in the restaurant. It wasn't busy at all, which kind of tells a story, I think. But the upper level we were sat at was quite nice, a little bit secluded. The music was loud though. Everywhere we went in the restaurant, obviously when you're trying to do reviews like this, you try and find a quieter spot so that the music's not too difficult to deal with on the video. There was nowhere in the restaurant where the music was quieter. It was loud, so hopefully it hasn't come across too much on the video. The service, I think, was okay. It was decent. The guys in there they looked after my bag for me. They came, sat us nicely, gave us the menus, gave us some time to pick everything, and the service generally was okay. The food though, well, this is supposed to be Gordon Ramsay's signature dish. Now, if this is his signature dish, I don't know how he ever ended up with 17 Michelin stars. I don't know why he's still got 8 now. If that's the standard of beef Wellington that is served in his restaurants, there's a problem. There is a problem. The beef fillet was actually cooked quite nicely inside the thing. The mushroom duxelle was pretty flavourless, to be honest. As someone who doesn't like mushrooms, I didn't find it unpleasant because it didn't really taste of mushrooms very much. There was no seasoning in it. The pastry it kind of looked nice on the outside. It was a little bit flaccid inside. And there was nothing else in there. So normally when you have a beef Wellington, you'll have some Parma ham wrapped around the beef or something like that, just to give it a little different flavour profile. Nothing in this one at all. On the positive side, the mashed potato was delicious. Right up there with James Martin's one. So that's a really good thing. But I'm not paying 120 quid for a small pot of mashed potato, am I? The broccoli. The cookery on it originally was decent, and the sauce tasted okay, but it was stone cold, absolutely stone cold. Do you know what? I wouldn't be at all surprised if they cooked the broccoli when they put the beef Wellington in, and there's a 45-minute wait on the beef Wellington. So possibly that broccoli was sat on the side for the best part of half an hour. It was stone cold. The plate was stone cold, and in fairness to the guys in there, when I told them about that, they did take the broccoli off the bill. Unfortunately, the broccoli is only £7 of the bill, but I suppose it's something, isn't it? Talking of the bill, service charge. Now, Gordon Ramsay restaurants put a 15% service charge on. Okay, most places in London you're going to get a service charge, usually 10 or 12.5%, there or thereabouts, depending on where it is. 15% in Gordon Ramsay's. Now, as I already said, the service was pretty good. But on a £120 beef Wellington, that's a service charge of £18. £18, can you believe it? Utterly outrageous. So I have the bill here in my pocket. All we got charged for in the end was the beef Wellington itself, which was £120 and the £18 service charge, £138 in total. That is definitely, by some margin, the most I've spent on a review on this channel. I won't be doing it again in a Gordon Ramsay place, that's for sure. So as you know, I went to Gordon Ramsay in Harrods before and had their burger and found it pretty disappointing, and I thought it was expensive for what it was. But in that situation, not only are you paying for the Gordon Ramsay name, but you're also paying for Harrods, and you know, so you kind of can forgive a little bit of that. However, here, we're not in Harrods. We're in Southwark, kind of near Waterloo Station. It's not the poshest part of London. This is supposed to be the signature dish, okay? I've gone for something to try and elevate my experience with Gordon Ramsay. Not a burger, but the thing he's famous for. And it's a letdown. I know other people have been and reviewed Gordon Ramsay's restaurants and had similarly disappointing experiences. There's a theme here. The theme is, if you're not getting involved in the restaurant as a chef, you've got no control over what they're serving. I went to the James Martin restaurant down in the New Forest recently. He goes there once a month, he trains a chef, he designs the dishes, and you can tell the difference. Here, Gordon Ramsay is just a name above the door, nothing more than that. If that's his signature dish, if he was to serve that up to his Michelin-starred friends, he would be laughed out of this town, I'm telling you. It was an absolute, real disappointment. If that's the best they've got nothing. They've got nothing. Forgot to mention, folks, before I get onto the scores, the gravy. So it was a little bit tasteless, to be honest, and a thimbleful. If that's enough gravy for 2 people, don't try serving this in Yorkshire, let me tell you. You'll be in all sorts of trouble. Right then, folks, on to the thorny matter of the scores, and I'm afraid, Gordon, I don't think you're going to be very happy with this. You'll get something for the good mash and the good service, and the rest of it was just rubbish. And it's £138 my bill. I can only give it, and I think this is being generous, a 1 out of 5. It doesn't deserve any better than that. Like I said before, if that's your signature dish, you're in the wrong game, sunshine. It was rubbish. Right then, folks, that's it from me here at Gordon Ramsay's Bread Street Kitchen in Southwark. If you've enjoyed the video, more than I enjoyed eating the food, and definitely more than my bank balance enjoyed this meal, then click a thumbs up on there for me. And if you'd like to see more of the content, why not consider clicking the subscribe button, and that way you won't miss any more of the content that comes up on my channel. Right, where to next? Somewhere cheaper, that's for sure. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.